Stocks follow a predictable pattern because of the federal government. Why is that?
Well, it's because of the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, Chris. These biotech companies have to adhere to strict FDA guidelines. For example, anytime they want to test a new drug or start a new trial, they need to fill out specific FDA forms.
They cannot keep these results secret. The FDA is mandating. They are forced to disclose that information. And when they do and present favorable results, stocks obviously are often going to rise.
Precisely.
Okay.
And that's why these are the most explosive stocks I have ever seen, especially now with everything going on because of COVID. Chris, when a small biotech makes a major announcement, huge 1,000% and near 1,000% gains are possible in a matter of days. Take Constellation Pharmaceuticals. They released new data on a clinical trial, and the stock price quickly jumped 890% as a result.
890%?
Equinox, the same thing. It spiked over 33 times in 14 days. And Trillium rose 8,284%. That turned $1,200 into $100K, and $12K into $1 million. Like I said, these stocks are explosive, and that's why, to me, I know these are the only real...
These need to go public sooner. Why is that?
Great question, and it's quite simple, actually. It's because breakthrough medical research is not cheap. Research, new drugs, clinical trials, patents, Chris, it all adds up. So by necessity, these companies need to go public much sooner to raise funds. Let me give you an example.
Sure.
Well, Intuitive Surgical decided to go public shortly before its Da Vinci surgical robot was approved by the FDA in 2000. They invested millions of dollars creating the Da Vinci and needed money to roll it out. Now, at the time, Intuitive's valuation was about $700 million. That's 100 times smaller than Uber's. So smart investors who bought in, not only did they help the company raise funds, but they were also richly rewarded. Look, like other penny IPOs, Intuitive followed the same predictable pattern. 1, 2, 3, pullback, first spike, second spike. Today, investors are up as much as 38,710%. Now that turns every $2,700 into $1 million.
I'd say that's okay.
Therapeutics MD is another great example. It's a biotech that went public to raise funds. Here, $5,250 catapulted into as much as $1 million. And with Amgen, a mere $329 could have grown into $1 million. Say you invested $2,000 that morphed into a rare and astonishing $6 million. That is a game changer. It will literally change your life.
No argument here. These are incredible gains. But are you, again, I asked this earlier, I'm concerned that you may be cherry picking here. I mean, just how predictable are these penny IPOs? I mean, they can't all be big winners, right?
No, Chris, of course. You're right. It's not a 100% success rate. Not every company will perform this strong. Out of the 88 penny IPOs in our backtest, we did have 2 losers.
2 out of 88.
Yes, one was flat and didn't return anything, and the other one went down 2%. But still, 86 of the 88, a full 98% of penny IPOs went up big. Let's please look here on the chart. As you can see, on average, in our backtest, these penny IPOs shot up 137% in 6 months, and by the end of 1 year, they each went up, on average, by 227%.
All right, so Jeff, if I'm connecting the dots here and understanding correctly, you basically have a 98 in a 100 chance to make a 227% gain, a triple, in less than a year.
That's right, in about a year.
Okay, but are those peak gains? I mean, maybe you're able to do this, but I certainly can't time exact tops.
Well, here's the best part, Chris. You don't need to. And we actually did the math, of course. Even if you capture just 80% of that total gain, Chris, and put 5K into each of those stocks, today you'd be sitting on close to $1.2 million. That's almost 20 times what most 65-year-olds have saved up.
Fair enough. Okay, folks, as a reminder, our extended Q&A session is coming up.
Well, I'll start with penny IPO number 1.
Great.
Chris, this company is working on one of the latest, most cutting-edge fields of medicine, the microbiome.
The what?
Yes, the microbiome. Each of us, Chris, we have a diverse array of microorganisms living inside of us. Collectively, these are known as the human microbiome, and it's essential to our health. For example, the microbiome helps us digest our food. It maintains our immune system, and it regulates our metabolism. And scientists just discovered it's linked to many illnesses: AIDS, MS, cardiovascular disease, Parkinson's, IBS, even autism. What's more, Dr. Jeffrey Gordon, a pioneer in the field, was recently awarded Columbia University's prestigious Horwitz Prize for his work I'm with now.
Your top penny IPO.
Yes, they've already created a library of more than 1,500 different microbiome-based treatments to help fight and even prevent disease. One of these, Chris, is cirrhosis, which kills over 1 million people a year.
So, big opportunity here.
It's huge. In fact, they've already got 11 patents to protect their work, and that's why several big VCs, including Fidelity Management and Research, who had successfully exited on companies like Reddit, Roku, and Peloton, while you were locked out, they poured over $230 million in the company. And now is the perfect time to get in, right now.
Why?
Well, because in classic penny IPO style, the stock has already seen its first initial small surge and pullback, and now it's reversing. It's poised for its first big spike higher, which could come literally any day now. You see, the company is set to release important clinical trial data, and on top of that, they're also set to file a key IND form with the FDA.
An IND?
An investigative new drug form. Chris, catalysts like this, trial results, or filing an IND with the FDA, are almost always what cause the big spikes we see in penny IPOs. In fact, in our back test, they were responsible for 100% of the first spikes we saw.
All of them, 100%.
Yes, all of them. It is a powerful signal. So, Chris, again, just to make sure you understand what we're doing here, we're recommending high-quality, early-stage biotech companies that just went public and that, like penny IPO number one, have a huge built-in catalyst coming up. And remember, because the FDA mandates these companies must make their results public, we have a very high likelihood of seeing our stock shoot higher, and that's why our back test showed a 98% success rate with an average gain of 227%.
All right, but what about the price, Jeff? I know you said your top penny IPOs were cheap.
Yes, Chris, these things can change quickly, but the last time I checked, penny IPO number one was actually the cheapest penny IPO in my entire portfolio. In fact, it's valued at half what Amazon was before it shot up 2,000 times. By buying now, you're getting a huge discount compared to anyone who bought on day one of the IPO. And you're even paying 59% less than the VCs like Fidelity did.
It's great. It's finally time for us to get our slice of the pie.
Absolutely. But Chris, I have to emphasize this. The window to act here is very short. You see, the company just scooped up the former chief marketing officer of GlaxoSmithKline, the $100 billion biotech giant. And they just signed a deal to start working with Johnson & Johnson to help prevent allergies in children.
So that's big.
It's huge. Johnson & Johnson is a $400 billion, is a big shot in the arm. And of course, that's on top of the important trial results coming up, which could come literally any day now.
So, Jeff, can I ask you what kind of potential upside we're looking at here?
Well, consider this. Rebiotics, another biotech that's working on the human microbiome, recently shot up 8 times before getting acquired. And they're not even in the same class as penny IPO number one. So, how can I say this? The sky is the limit. This is a very high conviction recommendation.
All right, I'll buy it. What's the second IPO on your list? Based on the notes that your team gave me, I'm actually seeing that we can get in almost 20% lower than VCs. So what's the story there?
Yes, Chris, this company is playing a very important role in the treatment of cancer.
Cancer, that's a big one.
Well, listen, if you've ever known anyone who suffered through this horrible disease, you know traditional cancer treatments just plain stink.
Yeah.
Chemo, radiation, with the body at the cellular level by piggybacking on our body's natural gene editing capabilities. That way, it can edit and even delete faulty genes that are affected by cancer, which makes it incredibly effective and much less harmful to the body. Right now, they're testing their new technology on 2 types of cancer, one of which is a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, a disease that affects 70,000 people. Now, this is smart, Chris. The global market for non-Hodgkin's treatments alone is expected to reach $10.8 billion by 2025. That's over 23 times penny IPO number 2's current valuation. And that's not even the best part.
Really? What's the best part?
Well, they have just opened up a manufacturing facility to produce off-the-shelf cancer therapies, the first building of its kind in America. Now, tell me, Chris, would the company's board approve such a rapid rollout if they didn't expect an immediate approval from the FDA?
No.
No, I don't believe they would. Now, of course, I can't be 100% sure, but I believe we are onto something big here. That's why the list of VCs backing penny IPO number 2 is off the charts. Fidelity's F Prime is an early investor. You've got Franklin Templeton, the Cowen Group, the Longevity Fund, as well as the VC arms of several big pharma companies like Amgen, Baxter, and Gilead Sciences. Chris, when not 1, not 2, but 3 big pharmas back a small player, it is a very telling sign, and shares are dirt cheap. Right now, as you stated, you can buy the stock for 19% less than what the VCs paid back in 2018, back when the company was still private. And the VCs know it's cheap, too.
Now, what do you mean by they know it's cheap?
Well, since its recent IPO, top holders have bought, get this, more than 2 million shares of penny IPO number 2. That's why I recommend everyone load up soon before shares potentially go skyward.
Okay. So, Jeff, what about penny IPO number 3?
Well, Chris, penny IPO number 3.
Tell us about the last 2 public penny IPO stocks on that list.
Well, sure. So penny IPO number 4 is another fast-track stock. This one is ridiculously cheap. Turn the tables on VC investors and finally score some of these gigantic early-stage gains for themselves.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about how the service actually works?
Of course. Well, we make about 12 to 15 new penny IPO recommendations per year, about 1 per month on average, sometimes a little bit more, and each is based on the unique proprietary system I developed over the last 5 years. If you remember, Chris, 5 Prime, New Link, Bluebird, those were all big winners. But with small biotechs, anything is possible. iBio recently shot up 148 times. And Oncosec, a penny IPO I recently saw, even shot up 85,000%. That turns $2,500 into $2.1 million.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing, Jeff.
Well, now, we shouldn't thank you, of course. Well, let's put this up on the screen. The company is called Arsenal Bio. This is a very interesting company. It's still private right now, so you can't buy it right now on a brokerage. We're going to have to be a little bit patient. But this is one of the most exciting private companies that I am tracking very closely. I do this with all of the recommendations that I make in early...
Who can buy penny IPOs? Do I need to be accredited or need a special brokerage account?
Well, I designed Early Stage Trader specifically for normal investors. You do not need to be an accredited investor.
Tonight, Jeff Brown shared with us all the results of his exhaustive search for tiny penny IPOs, which, as we learned tonight, are small biotech stocks that just went public with explosive potential and with valuations sometimes as small and even smaller than Amazon, eBay, Dell, what am I forgetting here? Cisco, when they first went public, before their gigantic leaps up and their skyrocketing valuations. Jeff, remember, is a pioneer in the tech world. And thanks to his proprietary new breakthrough technology called the Founder's Algorithm, he has designed a system, a type of IPO machine that sifts through all of the IPOs and turns out only what he believes are the best penny IPO candidates, and the results speak for themselves. In the back test, a full 98% were winners, each more than tripling on average. And since going live, Jeff has lived up to that promise. His average close position is up 186%. And now he's finally released the list. Maybe I should call it the list, which includes the 7 best penny IPOs that he is most excited about right now. 2 of these he believes could go public shortly, but 5 of them you can buy right now, as early as tomorrow morning in your brokerage account. In fact, all of these 5 stocks, you are turning the tables with these on Silicon Valley, and you are actually getting in for less than the VCs, almost 60% less than big, successful VCs like Fidelity for Jeff's top penny IPO. This is your chance. This is your moment. When you join Jeff tonight, you're going to get his report, the list, how to beat the VCs with Jeff Brown's 7 best penny IPOs. You're going to get the secret of the magic window, how penny IPOs can add $347,200 to your portfolio. You're going to get his penny IPO watch list, 10 companies to look out for that could. You're going to receive Jeff's weekly updates and mailbag, access to his US-based customer support staff. They are top-notch people. Full unlocked access to the founder's website, which features Jeff's full model penny IPO portfolio. That's available to you 24/7. All of his alerts for buying and selling, as well as his full library of special reports. And every single new penny IPO that Jeff recommends. He's aiming for 12 to 15 new recommendations per year. The price? I think you'll agree it's a pittance when you consider Jeff's gruesome 5-year task to develop this system and the $250,000 that he actually put into it. So tonight you get not 1 year of Jeff's service, but 2 full years of Jeff's VC beating early stage trader for only $2,500. This offer will not last, to put it simply. Call. Because of the historic importance of what Jeff is making available tonight, his team is manning the phones. They will be there for you. 888-344-8038. That's 888-344-8038. The quickest way to get access to Early Stage Trader in this special offer, however, is to just click the link on the bottom right of your screen. Go ahead, do it right now. And by confirming that spot, you are going to lock in this special deal. And within minutes, your special password will be emailed to you, and that is going to unlock Jeff's full proprietary penny IPO research for you. Click that link, and a reminder, should something not be to the level of your expectations, Jeff has put together a full 100% credit guarantee. When you click on the link, the full details are going to be spelled out for you. And on that note, I want to thank you again for joining us here tonight. From the historic Fairmont in San Francisco, I am Chris Hurt. This has been Silicon Valley Unlocked. Good night.